It's Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation. We're back at it at livehiphopdaily.tv for season 7 now. Year 7 of this shit, man. Back here in the same spot. I've been in for 7 years doing the same show. But it's Cash Color Cannabis, as y'all should know. We're back with another episode. Today I do not have a guest. Today I'm just going to kind of give y'all a rundown of some of the things I see happening in 2023, as well as some stuff that is happening with Cash Color Cannabis. So y'all could kind of expect that there might not always be a guest here on a Tuesday night, but when there is a guest, it's going to be a movie like we normally do. But let me get into it first. Before I even start, Joe, my cameraman. Joe, what's up with you, man? Y'all don't get a chance to see Joe. Y'all just see the work he does whenever you watch. If you ever on our social media, on our website, you see the pictures, you see the video that he creates along with creative. What is it? Creative Visions. I was thinking I was about to say it wrong. Along with Creative Visions, they doing great work. Our Cash Color Christmas video. I'm gonna talk about this too later when I talk about social media. But Instagram yanked down the music from our video for Cash Color Christmas. Now, but listen to this part. Not only did they take the video down, they recommended new audio, and the new audio was the audio they took. Well, they took it down and then recommended audio, and the recommended audio was the audio they took down. Man, look, man, what's up, E? But like I said, let me get into what I feel like some of the top trends when it comes to cannabis in 2023. And the first one I'm going to talk about is how you're going to consume, how people are going to consume in 2023. I see this being an even better year if you call yourself a cannabis consumer. While people will always continue to use flower, I'm a flower user, but I do try other things. But most people continue to use flower. More consumers are going to start leaning towards other ways of getting high, whether that be edibles or what I feel like is going to be the really next wave, which is drinkables. But they're thinking of different ways to possibly consume. And I personally feel like in 2023, the drinkable wave is going to be what people are really going to talk about. Now, this isn't necessarily super breaking news. Over the last couple of years, the drinkable market has been growing by leaps and bounds. But I feel like right now we're in a place where more people are becoming new to becoming cannabis users. So rather than just hitting them with real heavy THC flowers and smoking all the time, I think a good entry point that's going to be for a lot of folks are going to be drinkables and edibles, because it's something that they will be able to maintain, will be able to manage a little bit better. You know, like sometimes when you get high, when you smoking, it might take you a little second to realize you high. It only takes you a couple of bites to realize you got lit with an edible. You know when to put it down. Same thing with a drink. You know when to put it down. You know when to pick it back up. So I feel like for those reasons, you're going to really start seeing people, especially people who are new to cannabis, start gravitating to more edibles, more drinkables before they start touching on the flower necessarily. Now, that doesn't mean flower is going to ever go out of style. Like, stop playing. Like, I'm going to always love the experience of being able to break down a bud, the way it crumbles in your hand, to be able to roll it up. Like, that's part of my whole cannabis consuming experience, just being able to roll. I'm going to be a flower user, but you can never negate the fact that concentrates are getting more popular. People are leaning a lot more towards edibles and drinkables, like I mentioned. So again, don't be alarmed when you see somebody pull out something, even a vape. When you see somebody pull out something that's not a blunt, but this is their way of consuming. It's going to be 2023. Please believe that that's going to be something you will start seeing a lot more. I think another thing I want to touch on is what's going on in high C. You know, the great state of New York has officially kicked off their legal market. After the official sale of cannabis at a retail space, it's now time to see how the market is going to grow. And I feel like, similar to California, New York is going to have a real hard time trying to contain the gray market. Now, the underground cannabis scene in New York State has always been flourishing, and the state going legal isn't necessarily going to change that anytime soon. But I think there's going to be a real big struggle to try to quell what already was going on in the underground. You know, it's really hard to be the person who not only had a head start on you, but has figured out ways to be productive way before it was above ground. It's going to be really hard to beat them at their own game. So even though they've been trying to cut down on illegal shops and clamp down on those even before they really kicked off legal sales, they're going to have a hard time stopping pop-ups. You're going to have a hard time stopping people having their own shops. You're going to have a hard time doing that for a good couple of years, because this is how people are used to doing it. You know, I always look at it like this. Like, I'm a person, I've been to plenty of dispensaries across this country, and to this moment, I still don't feel like I'm a dispensary person. And it's because I was so used to getting my weed in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Like I was used to having a person. I was used to going to a house. I was used to doing it in this type of way. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people who are still used to doing certain stuff in a certain type of way, even if this other option is available, simply because you're not used to doing that option. So it's going to take New York City and New Yorkers a little time before they start really wrapping their heads around the fact that they're going to walk into a store to buy this weed and walk past the person they've been buying weed from for decades. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a little second for that. So don't be shocked that they see the same struggle that's going on in California, where the legal market that's been thriving way before you even had a conversation about how to sell this legally isn't going to go away quietly. So, and shout out to Dashita Dawson, Jake Plowden, the Joint Chiefs, Shice Bubs, Happy Monkey, and everyone in New York who are pushing the line for not just legal cannabis, but also also giving an equitable voice for people who are still operating on the underground. So shout out to all of them, man. I really wish New York City nothing but love. I can't wait to go to New York City and maybe buy some weed from a store. That'll be my first time going to New York City and doing that too. So y'all ain't gonna be alone if y'all if y'all think that's weird too. Also, in the South, what do you feel like is going to be happening in the South in 2023? What state do you feel like will be the next to go legal, whether that be recreational or medical? We just saw a slew of new states come online in the last election. One of those states was Virginia. And now while Virginia isn't in the deep South, it should make you want to think what state in the South would be next to actually go legal. Now, we've already seen Mississippi has legalized medical, as well as Florida and Louisiana. But do I see a possibility of another state in the deep South saying that, they're going to flip the switch and go legal? I'm not overly sure, but I feel like the closest that I could see, if we do see this in 2023, would be North Carolina or South Carolina. And it's primarily because, both of their legislators both failed to pass bills recently. So it's not like it's not in a conversation. It's just what they're trying to allow. Like I know South Carolina's bill was extremely restrictive. I got friends in North Carolina. They spoke to me about what North Carolina was trying to pass, and it was almost like having an ABCD store for weed, and if you ever lived in North Carolina, you know that the government controls the liquor store. So there's no such thing as like a Joe's liquor store. You gotta go to ABCD store. Sounds to me like they was trying to do that with weed, and I was like, I didn't like going to the ABCD stores. So I know I ain't going to the ABCD or weed store in North Carolina. But they are close. They came very close to trying to pass something. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see them make another shot at this, and one of those states actually goes forward with it. I would probably lean more towards North Carolina than South Carolina, but I wouldn't be shocked if South Carolina throws me a Hail Mary and says, nah, we got this. Even though it's a super restrictive bill, we will pass this just to say we passed it. Now, when it comes to Georgia, the state that I live in, I still feel like Georgia is years behind. They're years behind the limited medical program that we currently have. So I don't really see them flipping a switch anytime soon and trying to make any more progress, especially in 2023. But my fingers are crossed. I know there's still some great people, lobbyists that I do know and activists that I do know who are down at the Capitol all the time, making these conversations and having these kind of conversations with some of the legislators to see if maybe that is something they could change as we move forward. But as of right now, I ain't got no hope. I don't know about y'all. Drop a comment and let me know what you feel. What state would be the next state you think could go legal in the South? My bets is on North Carolina and South Carolina. I don't see Georgia being in no time soon, but let me know what y'all think is going to happen next. Also, when it comes to ads, last year I had a chance to be a judge for the Clio Cannabis Awards. A super great opportunity. Thank you very much, Michael Kaufman and everybody over at Clio for asking me to be a juror this year. It was crazy. And as a juror, I had a chance to watch, something like, it was more than 16 hours, but it was a ton of hours of commercials, nothing but cannabis commercials, short form, long form, some were documentary style, like nothing but commercials. And during this time of watching, I saw a lot of really bad ones, but the good ones dwarfed the bad ones that I saw. And after I got done doing my judging, I walked away thinking that that's something we're definitely going to start seeing as we move forward, but definitely something I think was going to start manifesting in 2023 is you're going to start seeing a lot more creative, sleek, cutting-edge commercials coming from various cannabis brands. Like you're no longer, yeah, exactly. I feel like you're going to start seeing that. Now, you're not necessarily going to see them on Super Bowl commercials necessarily, even though we have seen this happen already. We're not going to see them happen all on broadcast TV necessarily, But I do feel like it's a time where you're going to start seeing these type of ads, these really cool ads popping up on social media, on different platforms. It's 2023. You know, you have plenty of different ways to showcase things other than just broadcast TV and cable TV now. So I feel like right now, between the resources that are in the cannabis space and the creatives that are already here, that we're going to start seeing a lot more of these really professional commercials and a lot less of people kind of doing stuff on their phones. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're going to start seeing a lot more brands really putting that money into creating really quality content that they could circulate on social media, whether it be IG or any other platform, and be able to not only reach their audience but create a new audience based on what they're showing off. I think that's going to be something I can't wait to see. Some of these brands elevate their marketing when it comes, elevate their advertising. Can't wait to see that. I think that's going to be super dope. And speaking of different ways of how to promote your things, I feel like social media is another thing that we're going to have to start looking at in 2023 as far as what's expanding and what's going to be brand new to the space. Cannabis creators will definitely start looking for new platforms to share and create content. One platform that's already popped off, if you was in Las Vegas, you noticed about this time, but is Social Club. While Burner's social media platform, Social Club, is still new, it has plenty of space to grow. And I feel like the newness of it and the ability they have to grow into something that could be a lot bigger, I see a lot more creators being able to saying, if not all the way leave the Instagram, the Twitters of the world. They may just kind of split time between Social Club and Instagram, but you definitely have a new space on Social Club where you're not going to have the same amount of restrictions. You're not going to have the same amount of rules capped on what you can create and what you can do. And you'll be able to, like I say, create these really stunning, creative, cutting edge type content that you could not put on necessarily Instagram. So I see a lot more social media platforms coming down the pipeline. Like, I don't think Social Club is going to be the only one. And Social Club isn't the only one. Like, you still have platforms like WeTube. WeTube's been around for a while. That's another platform that's grown leaps and bounds since I first caught attention to it years ago. And that's another place that's similar to YouTube. You could set up shop and really become a creator and really develop your craft and develop your skills in a place where you're not going to constantly get flagged for smoke here or a song you put in the background. It's one of them things. So shout out to Social Club and shout out to WeedTube and all the other cannabis platforms that do currently exist and allow for content creators to flourish in the way they can flourish as far as cannabis creators. Another thing, I definitely got to get into is CashColorCannabis. I can absolutely tell you that we're going to see big things happening for CashColorCannabis. Right now, we're celebrating 7 years of producing the podcast, and I'm getting ready to put out the interview schedule right now. So while we may not be in the studio as much, for the last 6 years, you've been able to see me every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. sitting right here in this chair or right there on that side, bringing in different guests, different people to talk to, speak to my cannabis audience about their journey in the plant. But I may cut that back a little bit, and it's simply for this. I want to start, and I was telling Herb this last year, I just want to start bringing in the people I know I could bring in. There's a lot more people outside the state that I feel like I should be introducing people to in this state. Not necessarily what we do on the weekends, because we also do our Zoom interviews once a week where I am able to talk to some of the major cannabis heavy hitters who are across the country and across the world. But I want to start bringing some of them into Atlanta, into the studio on Tuesday nights. And I've already started that plan. So we're going to start between January and March. You're going to start seeing some newer guests come in, some people who don't necessarily live in Atlanta, people who have businesses all in other places and operate in other ways. But they're going to be able to come here and actually share their story, and I'm going to love that. So you're going to start seeing me maybe less in the studio, but when you do see us in the studio, it's definitely going to be a movie like we always do. And also still pay attention to the fact that we always will be recording. We record all throughout the week, like I said, via Zoom. So you're going to see new episodes of the podcast drop anyway. I got 3 new ones I got to drop slowly over the next few weeks. So definitely pay attention to that. Also, we're going to be working to get out of the studio. I've been planning on bringing the Cash Color Cannabis show to different cities for a little while now. Seriously. Mac, when me and Nicole were still working together, we was planning on doing that year, and then COVID happened, and then we couldn't do nothing. We couldn't do nothing. We already had the plan out. I had the route plan. I knew exactly how we wanted to do it, and then COVID happened, and I didn't get a chance to do it last year. But this year, Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and rip that band-aid off. So I want to start coming to some cities and bringing the Cash Color experience to your city. So whether I already got on my schedule, I want to go to Boston, I want to go to New Orleans, I want to go to Virginia. But where do you feel like you see Cash Color Cannabis coming? Like, what city do you want to see us pop up in? Where do y'all want to see us pop up? Who do you want to see us speak to when we're in that city? Please let us know. Drop a comment, drop a mention, and just let us know where we should try to bring the show in 2023. I definitely want to be do that experience and start meeting some of the people who watch the show, listen to the show from afar. Like these last couple of days, I've been blown away. You know what I mean? Like these 2 weeks being away from the studio have allowed me to just kind of absorb what I actually do and what we do at Cash Color Cannabis, and really being able to interact with people who listen to the show and people who like religiously listen to the show. That's dope as shit. You know what I mean? Like I had somebody recently even send us a couple of screenshots of them watching, listening to Spotify from their house, and they got it on the big screen of their TV. And I'm sitting there looking like, you not just listening to one episode too. You listening to a good couple of them. Like you sending me shot after shot after shot, and y'all midway through the interview. That's dope as fuck. Tell me where you at so we can bring this vibe out there, man. And so that's just re-energize my energy to do that, to take the show out of the studio and start taking it to the people who actually listen to it and people who actually tune in. And I think that's going to be something we definitely working on. And there's one last thing I can't really mention to y'all, but I'll tell you this. At the end of January, I'm going to send out an invite for a pop-up in the studio. If you get that invite, make sure you RSVP because it's definitely going to be something you're going to want to come see. It's the next evolution of Cash Color Cannabis. It's going to be something I feel like is going to really shake the room, and I can't wait to share it. I can't wait to share it with y'all. Like I say, I've been plotting this one since November, so I can't wait to share that with y'all. But and also, again, watch us over here at Live Hip Hop Daily, doing everything from creating new content for Cash Color Cannabis, and just kind of helping and watching the growth of Live Hip Hop Daily. It's been crazy to be somewhere for 6 years, 7 years now, and to be able to see the growth of the place that you've been at. So I always want to applaud her for that. Like, bro, seriously, you stuck two hands in the ground, steady putting plants, seeds in the ground. Mm. Look, we gonna always do it, man. Look, trust me, man. Live Hip Hop Daily and Cash Color Cannabis are one and the same. So you're always gonna see us here, no matter what's happening or no matter where we at in this world. But before we get out of here, I want to make sure that y'all please follow Cash Color Cannabis on every podcast or wherever you stream podcasts. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on TuneIn, wherever you stream them, YouTube, wherever you stream. Make sure we are there. So just make sure you follow us there. You must watch us on Tuesday nights on LiveHipHopDaily.tv. Make sure you're in studio whenever we bring out a new guest because it's definitely gonna be must see TV, and subscribe to our newsletter so you can keep up with all new developments, all new events, everything that we do, so you don't say you wasn't there. That's Cash Color Cannabis, a higher level of conversation on LiveHipHopDaily.tv. We out. I was trying to catch you. I was like, bro, I already seen it. I went bullet point by bullet point. I knew what I was doing tonight on my solo episode.